Coming up on Chapman News, the historic vote as the Senate finally decides on the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh.
Plus, with the midterm elections approaching, Orange County could determine who holds the power in Washington.
And the satirical rag that's sweeping the campus. Does the dean really have a tramp stamp? That and more on today's Chapman News.
Good afternoon and welcome to a brand new season of Chapman News. I'm Mallory Sullivan.
And I'm Kim Becker. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started.
Judge Brett Kavanaugh is one step closer to the Supreme Court this afternoon. Amid sexual misconduct allegations and protests dividing the country, the Senate voted 51-49 in a procedural vote this morning to advance the Kavanaugh nomination to a final vote.
This vote, the yeas are 51, the noes are 49. The motion is agreed to.
The final confirmation is expected to happen sometime tomorrow. One of the four undecided key senators, Lisa Murkowski, voted against advancing Kavanaugh, while Senators Jeff Flake, Susan Collins, and Joe Manchin voted to advance the nomination. If the Senate votes tomorrow in the same way they did today, it will be the narrowest confirmation for any justice in over 130 years. But the votes may change by tomorrow. Senator Susan Collins is announcing her formal decision on the nomination anytime now, which may be different from the one she gave in favor of moving to a final vote.
How the expected confirmation of Judge Brett Kavanaugh will affect the midterm elections is anyone's guess. Will Democrats come out to vote in greater numbers? Will Republicans, emboldened by their Supreme Court victory, stay home, or will they come out to vote too? Whatever happens, Orange County voters could play a big part in who controls the House, and maybe the Senate too. Political experts around the country are looking at a few key races in the OC, right here at home. We begin our political coverage with Didi Drogi.
Political observers are looking at 4 congressional districts in Orange County that could change the balance of power in Washington. For years, Orange County has been considered the Republican hub of Southern California, until 2 years ago, when the 2016 presidential election turned the county blue for the first time since 1936. District 45 includes Orange, Tustin, and Irvine, and this will be between incumbent Mimi Walters and liberal progressive Katie Porter. GOP Congresswoman Walters has represented the district since 2015, and Porter is a far-left UC Irvine professor who has worked closely with Senator Elizabeth Warren. Although Democrats gained 15% of the voter population here in the last 4 years, Walters is still expected to keep this district. Obama's first campaign stop this month was Anaheim, where District 39 is a hopeful battleground for Democrats. Conservative Ed Royce held this district since 2013, and his sudden retirement was a surprise to many. To fill his seat, Democrat and veteran Gil Cisneros will be going against Republican Young Kim. If elected, businesswoman Kim would be the first Korean-American woman in Congress. You can't talk about District 48 without mentioning controversial Dana Rohrabacher, who has been representing Huntington Beach, Costa Mesa, and Newport Beach for nearly 20 years. Rohrabacher has turned many heads in the last year with his controversial comments. Republicans have lost 15% of the voter population here, so this race is being closely watched on a national level, as local businessman and liberal Harley Ruda tries to unseat Rohrabacher. District 49, including Oceanside, Encinitas, and Carlsbad, is where Democrats are most likely to win. Republican Representative Darrell Issa has decided not to run for re-election, so this race has come down to fiscal conservative Diane Harkey and liberal Mike Levin. This race could go either way, but Democrats are hopeful. In politics, money talks, and the money behind these campaigns is unprecedented. In California, the amount of campaign money spent since the last election cycle has already doubled to over $100 million. As the nation devolves into a red and blue battleground, Orange County residents are now some of the most important voters in the 2018 midterm elections. Sam Thomas has more on how you can vote.
The 2016 presidential election was the first time that Orange County voted Democratic since 1936. Until then, everyone had assumed that this area would remain Republican. But as Orange County diversifies and grows, more registered Democrats are living in the area. This leaves Democrats hopeful, but may be concerning for the Republicans who have represented this county for decades. During the last midterm elections in 2014, only 14% of Chapman students voted. This year, Chapman students and Orange County residents alike have the chance to make history and directly determine the makeup of the U.S. Congress. Many students are under the impression that they cannot vote if they are registered in their parents' district. However, you can register to vote absentee by mail on registertovote.ca.gov or at your local DMV, post office, or public library before October 22nd. Go to vote.org for more information on registering and polling places near you. As Orange County evolves, leaders in both parties will be watching this county closely.
Joining us now are two members of the Chapman University community who are experts on the upcoming election. Dr. Fred Smoller, an associate professor of political science, and his colleague Dr. Mike Moodian, an associate professor of social sciences. Thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So we've been following the Kavanaugh nomination. What will this mean for the midterms, specifically in Orange County?
Well, I think we'll see that he'll be confirmed. I would imagine at 3 o'clock today or 12 o'clock our time, Susan Collins will say she's voting against it, but Jeff Flake will vote for it, and that'll make it a 50-50 tie, and then the vice president could break the vote, break the tie, and he'll be confirmed. It's hard to say what it will mean. It's been a very divisive process. I think the president will continue to campaign on it, and it may gin the base a little bit from the Republicans. The Democrats are so upset already that I don't know if this will even further incite them, but it may.
What makes you say that?
Well, they are very, very upset with Donald Trump and his administration. This is a county that voted for Hillary Clinton, and Clinton won each of these congressional seats, these districts, and this particular issue where the whole issue, the Me Too issue, was really being publicly discussed and debated, seems to have been pushed through and rushed through without giving Ms. Ford due consideration.
And in terms of Orange County, it's been such a Republican stronghold in the past, and some argue that that's changing. What do you think? You do? Okay. Can you elaborate on that? What do you think is changing in the voters?
Well, there are two things going on. Mike and I have done survey work, and we have been able to show that the county is getting far more moderate. This is no longer red county. It is purple county. And so Republicans had a 22% registration advantage in 1990. Now it's down to around 2.8%. And in another election cycle by 2020, Democrats will probably overtake them in terms of registration. There's a demographic change, more Latinos, more Asians, more young people, more 60-year-old white males are exiting the electorate. They're dying or retiring, moving to Arizona. That's one change, but that change has been accelerated by Donald Trump. So you have these demographic change with a shot of adrenaline or steroid, which is Donald Trump really alienating the Latino community and of now women.
Right, and the other issue too, I would add to what Professor Smoller said, is that we've also seen a rise in decline to state voters and independent voters, which has led to more of a balanced breakdown in terms of registration numbers among the electorate. But this is something, Professor Smoller and I have been around Orange County for a long time, and this is a dramatic change from what we saw in the 1980s and 1990s. And yes, to add to what Professor Smoller said, George W. Bush had a relatively high approval rating in Orange County, before the Great Recession. Donald Trump's approval rating is very low, and Orange County now, according to our polling, looks much more like the rest of the country. I think it's still an outlier in California. We're still considered, not as progressive as the rest of the state, but certainly a county that looks more like the country.
Wow, okay. And we've noticed that the unemployment rate is the lowest that it's been in almost 50 years. It's
Yes.
at 3.7%, which you think would suggest that Trump would be doing well in the polls, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Right. With any other president, when you have peace and tremendous economic prosperity, stock market is high, unemployment is low, inflation is low, he should be near or above 50%. He's in the low 40s, and that suggests a very serious character problem. There are problems with this president, and people don't like him.
Right. And if I also may add, another difference too, especially putting this through the perspective of Chapman students and young people. Young people today are entering a world, particularly in Orange County, that's much different in terms of opportunity. Housing costs are very high, property taxes are high, and a lot of young people are realizing that they can't buy a home in the area they grew up in, and that's a big problem. And I think that also is affecting people's views, particularly as it relates to social programs and other opportunities.
Right, they're going to look for some type of government action in order to ameliorate those problems. You can't just rely on free market answers because they're not giving you the solutions you need. They're not giving you the home.
Absolutely, yeah.
So for our young listeners, how do you vote? How would Orange County go about voting?
Well, the key is to register to vote. That's the major thing. It's never been easier. Go online, ocvote.com, and you can register online. You can register up to October 22nd, and even after there. But right now, just go over to the internet, put in some information. You have to put in your license and one other identification form, and you're in. And there's what many students say, well, I can't vote. I've only been here a month. There must be a time requirement. There is none. You just have to be 18 and a resident of Orange County and a citizen of the United States, and you're in. You can be doing it 30 seconds.
Wow, awesome.
And a lot of students are busy. It's very convenient to vote by mail. And what I do is I receive the mail ballot, I fill it out, and I take it to the polling place, drop it off, and it's done in 30 seconds. So it's highly encourage that because students are very busy, obviously with classes.
Now, this is a very unique election. Most students ignore the city of Orange. But this year, we have a Chapman student, Betty Valencia, running, and a Chapman alum, Vincent Monaco, who graduated from Chapman, happened to have been my student. One is a Republican, one is a Democrat. Both are running for city council. There are many issues dividing Chapman from the city council. They affect students, party houses, parking, things like that. They can weigh in.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much. That is all the time we have, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up after the break, your days of sipping from a straw may be numbered. California becomes the first state to ban plastic straws.
And it just may be the biggest challenge for Chapman students, trying to find a parking spot on campus.
Wondering if we'll see any more rain this week in SoCal? Stay tuned for this week's temperatures. I'll have your 5-day forecast and more coming up after the break.
Stand up for what's right. Chapman University. Passion, perseverance, teamwork, integrity. Create value in the world. The School of Law at Chapman University. Lead. Follow your dreams. Chapman University. History, philosophy, peace studies, languages. Study abroad and explore the world. Become a global citizen. The Wilkinson College at Chapman University. Invest your humanity. Lead.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alexis Rodriguez, here to let you know when your fall will feel like summer and when to whip out that winter coat, if ever. But okay, here is your weather for the day. In good old Orange, you can thank the new season and some cloud coverage for a nice 74 degrees today. So next, let's go into our Orange County forecast. So you can see in Westminster, we are looking at a nice 75, as well as in Newport Beach. So if you are looking to go to the beach, it is a little bit cooler, but still great temperatures for Southern California. Like I said, also in the beaches, it'll be 76 for Laguna. Inland, we'll look at 77 for Orange as our high for the day, and then 74 in Irvine. Mission Viejo is a nice 74 as well. San Clemente, as you move down further south, for some reason it's getting a little bit cooler, so a 71 there today. So as we move into the Southern California forecast, perfect weather in Santa Barbara as always, a nice 74. In Avalon, if you're looking to go to Catalina Island, 71. It'll be a little bit cooler out on the water out there. Anaheim, as we move inland more, Anaheim will be 77. Los Angeles 76, Oceanside moving down the coast 72, and 72 in San Diego as well. As we move into the mountains, we're looking at a nice 63 in Big Bear Lake, and Palm Springs will be a nice scorching 92 degrees. So as we look here, we can see our weather pattern kind of for the week throughout the entire country. So we have kind of a cold front up in the northwestern side of the United States with some snow, a lot of cold. No surprise, super cold up there. And then as we move inland, it is more rains and thunderstorms, and then staying mild as the jet stream moves upwards. So let's look at our 5-day forecast here. Friday, we are looking, like I said, at 77 degrees with a low of 62. Nice and sunny here in Orange. Saturday, it'll be, like I said again, 74 on nice sunny, 62 for our low. Sunday, surprise, we have another rain shower coming our way. So be sure to bring out your umbrellas and stay dry. It'll be 73 and a low of 57. Monday, 75, sunny, and partly cloudy on Tuesday with 74 degrees, a low of 56. So Orange County, that is all I have for you today. Don't let the cloudy skies get you down. Just remember, there's nothing like a California sunset like this beautiful photo behind me with a little bit of clouds up there. So go enjoy the outdoors, and we'll see you next Friday. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Alexis. Old Town Orange is known to its residents as a unique place full of history, and now it will be forever remembered as one of the great places in America. Thursday afternoon, residents celebrated in Old Town Orange Plaza as the mayor unveiled a plaque from the American Planning Association declaring their new title. Past winners include Central Park in New York City and Olvera Street in Los Angeles. Community members came to celebrate their beloved plaza and shared why they think Orange is deserving of the award.
This is the town that's actually taken the most effort to be retro rather than to re-urbanize.
It has a small town feel. All the residents know each other, and if they don't know you, they will stop and say hi.
It has actually been stated that it's the largest small town in America, and that's exactly the feel you get here.
Just a few months ago, you automatically received a plastic straw with any cold drink and probably didn't give it a second thought. This may be no longer.
Now, with a push from environmentalists, restaurants are serving their final straws. Brooke Ballard joins us from Starbucks on main campus to tell us what all the fuss is about. Brooke?
Guys, you wouldn't think a simple straw could do so much damage to the environment. With Americans using 500 million a day, you'd be wrong.
Straws are bad because they can't be recycled, they are not biodegradable, and they just end up in landfills in the ocean.
So Starbucks, America's favorite coffee house, came up with their own solution, a plastic lid that can be recycled. And now the government's getting into the act.
Today, Governor Jerry Brown signed the bill aimed at cutting down on pollution that he says has led to disastrous consequences in our ocean wildlife.
The new law will ban straws in all full-service restaurants unless requested, making California the first state to get rid of straws. However, plastic straws will still be available in fast food restaurants. This new law has caught a lot of people by surprise.
I actually don't know too much about it. I just know that straws are being banned, but because they're like bad for the environment, but I don't know too much about it otherwise.
I haven't read the law fully, but if the law for the most part states that plastic straws are being banned, then I agree with it.
I go to Starbucks a lot, and there's one on campus. I normally use their straws, but if there was a reusable option, yeah, I'd get one.
A 2015 study found that 79% of plastic ends up back in the environment, and Governor Jerry Brown says these new laws will help fight pollution. I don't know about you, but I've used so many plastic straws in my day.
You know, in some countries they use like bamboo straws. America needs to get on that bandwagon. It's way better. Yeah. Sleeping in isn't the only reason students are showing up late for class. More and more students are blaming the campus parking situation, claiming it can be impossible to find a spot. Natalie Rawson and Shannon Domingsville hit the streets to learn more.
Students and faculty are no stranger to this frustrating issue. However, after adding about 300 spots in the Lastinger structure, there was hope. But did it really help?
So I thought that we went to a small private university, according to Chapman's website. But I guess not, because there's never parking or whatever.
Parking at Chapman is pretty stressful. It's actually Gives me anxiety before class because I can never find a spot.
I live 2 minutes away, and so I'll be in the parking structure. Like if I have a class at 3:30, I'll be in the parking structure at like 3 to 3:10. I still can't find a spot till like 3:30 on the dot.
Out of a poll of 100 students, 63 responded that they've missed or been late to class because they couldn't find parking. 90% of students agreed that Chapman does not have adequate parking. However, the chief of public safety doesn't agree.
We actually have enough parking right now to meet our demand, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. They think that we have this humongous problem and they can never find parking and they have to spend 40 minutes or 20 minutes looking for parking, and we realize that as a real, it's a real issue for the person that has to do that, but when you look at the actual data, we have enough parking spaces. They're just not typically where people first want to go.
Chapman's shuttle system doesn't get good grades either. At least that's according to 7 out of 10 students we polled.
The shuttles have been a bit of a mess because there's a high demand for students. At Panther Village, it was easier for the shuttle system because there was such a low number of residents, but because Chapman Grand has such a higher influx, there's not as much opportunity for the shuttles, the same shuttles that were taking the students to PV to be the same shuttles that are at Grand.
3 shuttles have now been added to accommodate the increased demand, but the damage may have already been done. Some students are choosing to drive to campus instead, causing further parking problems. Chapman hopes to expand their student population to nearly 12,000 by 2025 and has already begun construction on a new residence hall, set to open in the fall of 2019. With all this growth, Chapman is facing more pressure than ever to fix this parking mess. As for now, may the odds be ever in your favor. I'm Natalie Rawson. This is Chapman News.
In the meantime, you can do what I do. You wait for a student to come down the stairs into the parking garage and stalk them as they walk to their car to take their spot. You just pull in quick. If you see an angry ginger in a black Mazda coming through, it's me. You better walk faster. I'll be throwing bows.
If finding a parking spot was a sport, I think I'd be Athlete of the Week.
Speaking of Athlete of the Week, it returns for another semester with a variation on the world's oldest team sport. Stay tuned.
I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Emergencies and disasters happen with little or no warning and often occur while you are away from home. Be ready for emergencies by registering your alternate phone numbers, cell phones, and email addresses at alertoc.com. You will receive alerts when an emergency occurs near your workplace or neighborhood.
California just became the first state to require its publicly held corporations to include women on their board of directors. The bill, which applies to many companies whose principal executive offices are in California, requires them to have at least one woman on their boards by the end of next year. This new law will affect some of Silicon Valley's largest companies, such as Facebook, Apple, and Alphabet.
The state of California is being sued by the Department of Justice and 4 industry groups representing major companies like Verizon and Comcast because of the new net neutrality law. Net neutrality is the rule that cable and media providers cannot slow, stop, or prioritize services based on how much you pay for using them. As Governor Jerry Brown signed the law this past Sunday, the Department of Justice and major companies filed the suit within the same day. The Broadband Association, among many others, is calling the law a classic example of unconstitutional state regulation. They want the court to change it before the law goes into effect on January 1st.
Are you an employee of Chapman University? If so, your information may have been compromised. A breach of security from phishing attack has been reported. This would have occurred through a suspicious email where Chapman employees had to log in with their Chapman credentials, thus giving the hackers their personal information. The hackers then used this information to change banking information and reroute payroll checks. At least 20 accounts have been compromised, and at least 3 of those accounts have had their payroll checks rerouted. In order to find out more information or access assistance, please call the Chapman Service Desk at 714-997-6600.
While phishing is a serious crime, is it a sport?
Of course it's a sport. There's fly fishing. Guppy fishing?
Sport fishing.
Sport fishing? Let's have Brad take care of the real sports, shall we?
Hello and welcome to another year of the Best Campus Sports Show. It's a new year and I'm your new anchor, Brad Benson. It's currently the best time of the year with all 4 major sports going on at the same time, so let's get right to it. The NHL regular season kicked off on Wednesday night. The last time we saw the Ducks, they got swept in the first round of the playoffs by the San Jose Sharks. Well, on Wednesday night, they returned to the Bay looking for revenge. 49 seconds into the game, Max Comtois gets the one-on-one with Martin Jones and the rookie gets his first career goal. Ducks up 1-0. Then, 6 minutes later, Evander Kane shows off some nice moves and puts it right through the wickets to tie the game at 1 apiece. Gibson isn't phased after that one and has some clutch saves. He ended up with more than 30 on the night. Later in the second period, Thomas Hertl comes through with a nice goal to put the Sharks up 2-1. Then Getzlaff to Silfverberg to Raquel, and he gets it in to tie the game at 2s. Moving on to the third period, and this one's all Ducks. That's Brandon Montour on the score. And then here on the power play, Silfverberg to Henrique. 4-2 Ducks. And finally on the empty net, easy goal for Carteroni. Ducks get the win 5-2. The Ducks play again tomorrow night in Arizona and then return home to the Honda Center on Monday night to face the Detroit Red Wings. Sticking with teams just down the road from Chapman, there's some big news coming from the Angels this week. Manager Mike Scioscia will not return for the 2019 season. Scioscia spent the last 19 seasons as the manager for the Halos, which was the longest tenure in Major League Baseball. This is from his press conference following Sunday's game.
I want to make an announcement that I'm going to step down. I will not be returning to manage the Angels next year. And speaking with Anna and our family, there's no doubt it's the right move for me, and I think it's the right move for the organization. So I've had an incredible 19 years. It's been just awesome.
In his time with the team, Scioscia won 2 AL Manager of the Year awards, led the Angels to 6 division titles, an American League pennant, and a World Series championship. The Angels thank Scioscia for helping evolve the team into an elite franchise and wish Scioscia and his family the best for the next chapter in their lives. In Chapman Athletics news, Athlete of the Week returns for another semester. This week, the honor went to freshman water polo player Graham Azalone, here in this week's title for scoring 3 goals and 5 assists in their win last week. Am I able to piggyback off Tim's success and get a win streak going for the hosts? Let's find out. I'm here with Athlete of the Week, Graham Azalone. He has earned the honor of Athlete of the Week through a spectacular play in water polo. Well, today, we're going to try regular polo, or a variation of it. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Yes, let's go! Off my foot.
Unreal. Okay.
All right, 1-0. You lead the team in goals and assists as a freshman. How did you get so involved in the offense this early?
Right as I came in, all the guys were so super welcoming, and we had a bunch of tryouts, and they recognized me as like a big shooter and facilitator for the team. So they looked to me to like help them out, and then I would ask them questions as well. So we just run plays through me usually, and yeah, I guess I shoot a lot too, so I'll score.
1-1. Oh, my horse died.
Oh, damn.
My horse has fallen. I'm down 2-1. He gets one more, he wins. So you guys have a tournament this weekend. How does a tournament feel different than a regular season game?
To be honest, it's not that different, the games themselves, but just because you're playing so many back-to-back, it can be a struggle when you come to that 3rd, 4th, 5th game on the weekend. Your whole body is tired because you've been playing a bunch of minutes. All the guys, you just have to rally with your teammates and push through. Wow, okay. 2-2.
Let's go, tie game. After today's game, do you think you're ever going to want to pursue regular polo?
No, but it sounds like I might have to do that.
Bucket, we're out. We out. We out. Oh my God. That's a game. Good game. Good game, man.
Well, it was a close game. Graham beat me 3-2. Any last words, Graham?
No. I hope I don't have to play that ever again.
All right, me neither. So it turns out if you're good at water polo, you're pretty good at regular polo, or whatever you want to call that game that we just played. This week's highlight of the week comes from last Saturday's Penn State versus Ohio State game. Penn State wide receiver Juwan Johnson came down with a beautiful one-handed catch early in the first quarter. I think you'll enjoy this one.
McSorley steps up first, downfield shot, jump ball, and Johnson goes up and makes a spectacular one-handed catch over Damon Arnett. That's the kind of one-on-one battle they have to win.
I mean, that's catch of the year through 5 weeks. Are you kidding me? Watch him extend and one-hand that football. 6'4", 225. Damon Arnett in pretty good position, but there's nothing that he could do about that. That is a big receiver going up and making a play.
Ohio State went on to win the game 27-26, but Juwan Johnson might have single-handedly won catch of the year. You see what I did there? Maybe? Well, that's all I got for you today on the Best Campus Sports Show. I'm Brad Benson. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, and have a great weekend, everybody.
Coming up after the break, find out which pop princess will be opening the 2018 American Music Awards. You're watching Chapman News.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Some people have mixed reaction when they hear the word police, but not Siri. Robert Peterson developed a shortcut that texts your location to an emergency contact and takes a discreet video when you are being pulled over by the police. All you have to do is tell Siri, police, and she'll do the rest. Peterson got the idea for the shortcut after seeing police interactions on the news with unclear stories of what really happened. And while iPhones are helping some people, others are finding their picture-perfect phone to be deadly. A recent report shows 259 people have died taking selfies within the last 6 years. The problem has become so big in countries like India and Russia that they have declared no selfie zones.
259.
Yeah, I mean, no selfie zones. That sounds kind of crazy to me.
Sad and so weird. Let's go to a little bit more lighthearted information. Let's throw it to Shannon and see what's going on in the entertainment world.
Thanks, ladies. Let's dive into some entertainment news, starting with the box office. A pop star turned actress and an actor turned director, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper star in A Star is Born. The film, which was released today, marks Gaga's first starring role and Cooper's directing debut. The film focuses on the raw and passionate journey of Jack and Ally, two musical artists who come together on stage and in life, but realize the struggles and heartbreak of relationships with each other and within themselves. Gaga performs original songs with Cooper, and all vocals for the movie were recorded live during filming. To get fans excited for the release today, Gaga debuted Shallow on September 27th, the first single for the film soundtrack and the first song the duo sings together in the film. Dodge will also be screening the movie in the Foligno Theater on Tuesday, October 9th at 7 p.m. Saturday Night Live made its 44th season premiere on Saturday, September 29th, and it was nothing short of entertaining. Matt Damon played Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh in the show's cold open, highlighting the most noteworthy Twitter moments from last Thursday's hearing, from his loud emotional demeanor to the amount of water he drank to his physical high school calendar to support his claims. SNL season premiere also included an unaired Trump speech by Kanye West after his closing performance. He performed Ghost Town wearing a Make America Great Again hat and proceeded in a pro-Trump speech. Chris Rock, who was in the audience, captured a few moments of the rant on his Instagram. Kenan Thompson also commented on Kanye's speech on The Late Night Show with Seth Meyers.
Not a guy who's scared of his opinion. And
No,
voicing
not at all. And, you know, we're all entitled to our opinions.
Sure.
I don't know if that's the moment necessarily to hold people hostage like that. But, hey.
To say the least, the show's season premiere kicked off to an eventful start. Another year, another awards show. The 46th Annual American Music Awards are coming up this Tuesday, October 9th, and it's being kicked off by Taylor Swift. The 28-year-old announced on Instagram that she will be opening the American Music Awards. This performance is Swift's first awards show performance in nearly 3 years. Her last performance took place at the 58th Grammy Awards in 2016, where she took home the Album of the Year award. Swift is wrapping up her Reputation tour and will be performing her song, I Did Something Bad. Other performers set to take the stage include Cardi B, Carrie Underwood, and J-Lo. And while T-Swift hasn't performed at an awards show in 3 years, Tracee Ellis Ross is returning for a second consecutive year to host the AMAs. The show will broadcast from the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles live on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ABC. That's the latest in entertainment today, but stay caught up with us throughout the week on social media.
That's right. Go ahead and follow us at Chapman News on Twitter and Instagram. And be sure to check out our newest segment on Instagram TV, This Just In. You can catch our first episode now.
Thanks, Jada. I'm Shannon Domingso for entertainment. Now back to you ladies at the desk.
It looks like Orange may have some competition because there's a new fruit in town. The Kumquat is Chapman's new anonymous satirical newsletter, and it's gotten quite the reaction. The writers haven't revealed their identities to the world, so we have changed their voices and hidden their faces. Take a look.
It's been a year in the making, and now Chapman's most reliable news source has made its debut on campus. In their first issue, the new satirical paper had everyone believing Dean of Students Jerry Price had a hidden tramp stamp of the Fenestra logo.
I'm on record that I have no tattoos whatsoever.
I went out to get to the root of the Kumquat.
So, did you read the Kumquat? Did you see it?
I read it 3 times. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever read. I haven't read a book in 3 years, but the Kumquat really changed my life.
I thought it was really funny. It's kind of like making fun of the tropes of like film school kids and stuff like that.
In case you missed the first edition, it seems the most popular headline referenced a Dodge student at a frat party, claiming he was, quote, basically Woody Allen without all the pedophilia.
What story did you read that really caught your eye or kind of caught your attention?
The one about Dodge, probably, because I'm a Dodge student, so that one was the funniest for me.
I did like the stuff about like the Koch brothers donations.
The Dodge kid at frat party desperately wants everyone to know what major he's in. I love that so much. Like it's just funny.
You have no idea that you're laughing at a joke I thought of on the toilet.
We sat down with the writers in their very first on-camera interview, and though they weren't quite ready to reveal everything, we got a taste of what the Kumquat is all about.
It's about being funny. It's about just making Chapman happy. It doesn't need to be about who we are. We're in college, like, we don't even know who we are, so you guys shouldn't know either.
But the ideas for the articles didn't come out of nowhere.
You'll be at a party and see like a Dodge kid being like, yeah, like I'm a film product manager, and you're like, oh man.
They were inspired by similar publications like The Onion. And as the writers figure out who they are, the Kumquat will grow with them.
It will most certainly happen all year. We have our whole next issue, like all the articles are written. So we're waiting for the right time to drop them.
And as far as the tramp stamp is concerned,
You can check our next issue for our statement on Dean Price's tramp stamp.
for Chapman News, I'm Kim Becker.
Who knows what the future holds for the Kumquat and for Dean Price's tramp stamp? But one thing is for sure, Chapman students are looking forward to the next issue.
Yes, we are.
A Canadian surgeon performed a daring experimental procedure without anesthetic on a teddy bear.
8-year-old Jackson Mackey was headed to surgery when he was asked if the doctor could fix his teddy bear. Dr. Daniel McLeely agreed to operate on the bear and diagnosed little baby with a tear in the underarm. After the bear, the doctor performed surgery on Jackson and is happy to report that the both of them are recovering after successful procedures. Thanks so much for tuning into our show. I'm Mallory Sullivan.
And I'm Kim Becker. Have a great weekend.
Log on to our website, chapmannews.tv, to see all of our episodes, Chapman Newsies bios, and top headlines.
And make sure you also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Chapman News, Twitter and Instagram at Chapman News, and YouTube at youtube.com/Chapman News.